Hello, I'm Jeff Thielman, the President and CEO of the International Institute of New England. Welcome to our Town Hall webinar, Healthy, Safe, and Empowered, Redefining the Resettlement Experience for Refugee Women and Girls. IINE is on track this year to serve more than 18,000 refugees and immigrants from over 70 countries. That's nearly double the number of clients we served last year. 50% of these clients are women and girls. They come to us fleeing persecution, violence, political instability, famine, poverty, and climate disasters. They look to us for safety and a fresh start. Today, you'll hear from our staff about the unique challenges women and girls face during the resettlement process, especially in their first few months in the United States, how IINE is addressing those challenges through tailored programming that is culturally sensitive and focused on empowerment, and opportunities for you to get involved in this important work. We ask you to use the question and answer feature to ask questions throughout the program. We will answer the questions during the second half of the program, and we'll share a recording of today's webinar along with the PowerPoint slides by email later this week. Let's talk about our mission statement. At IINE, our mission, as you see there, is to create opportunities for refugees and immigrants to succeed through resettlement, education, career advancement, and pathways to citizenship. We do this work from our offices in Boston and Lowell, Massachusetts, and in Manchester, New Hampshire, as well as in the New York City metropolitan area, where we work to support unaccompanied children. To serve thousands of families and individuals every year takes a community. We are lucky to partner with healthcare centers, school districts, employers, and community organizations throughout New England to ensure new arrivals to our country receive all the services and support they need. Our theory of change is designed to provide persecuted and displaced individuals the support they need to start strong in our communities and with time, give back to their new home. We welcome refugees and immigrants, help them stabilize through English classes and employment support, and support their longer-term integration through civic engagement and legal services. Clients enter and re-enter IINE's continuum of care at various points in their journey in the United States. Our goal is to help each person and family become self-sufficient as quickly as possible. There is no strong safety net in the US, so self-sufficiency is critical to survive. This afternoon, you will hear from Senior Vice President and Chief Advancement Officer Zan Weber, who will provide an overview of the resettlement experience for women and girls. She will share some of the reasons why women and girls become displaced and the heightened risks and challenges they face. Zan will then be joined by the managing directors from our Boston, Lowell, and Manchester, New Hampshire sites, Maggie Nazarinas, Caroline Rowe, and Henry Harris. Maggie, Caroline, and Henry will discuss our tailored programming that helps the women and girls in our services feel healthy, safe, and empowered. You will also hear from one of our staff members, our colleague Furaha Nyirarukundo. IINE resettled Furaha in Manchester in 2019, and today she works as a health promotion case specialist, helping our clients connect with critical physical and mental health services. Furaha, Henry, Caroline, and Maggie will be available to answer any questions after the presentation. A reminder again, as I said earlier, please feel free to use the Q&A feature to submit questions throughout the program. At the end of the program, we're going to talk about ways you can get involved, including by supporting our new Willow Fund. Willow stands for the Women's Initiative for Learning, Liberation, Opportunity, and Wellbeing. We will be hosting a luncheon to support the Willow Fund in October, which we'll share more about later this afternoon. Now I want to turn over to my colleague, Alexandra Weber, our Senior Vice President and Chief Advancement Officer.
Thank you, Jeff, and welcome everyone to our latest town hall. This is one of the most important ways that we share and communicate our work. So I'm so happy to be with you this evening, even if it's just virtually. As Jeff said, tonight's focus is a presentation on the unique experience of women and girls. So to start with some context, worldwide, women and girls make up 50% of all displaced people, and the highest concentrations are in sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East, and North Africa. As Jeff shared, people are displaced due to a range of issues, from poverty to famine to political instability. The reality is, and as we've experienced, women and girls experience displacement differently than men and boys. Why are they at such heightened risk? For many different reasons, including displacement often reinforces discrimination and socioeconomic disadvantages, and it's often harder for women to secure a decent living when displaced, and that has repercussions on their ability to find shelter, keep themselves safe, access education, and access healthcare. Women and girls' voices are also not always heard or respected, and they're often not included in decisions that can affect them. Unfortunately, what we've found is the deterioration of women's well-being and displacement is often carried over and mirrored in resettlement. A particular area of concern for IINE is the high incidence of gender-based violence among displaced women and girls. Women and girls are often targets of sexual violence during conflict, which can leave lasting trauma. And there's research that points to increases in domestic violence following displacement, including forced sex, forced abortion, control over contraception, and physical violence during pregnancies. Another form of abuse that we've experienced is the prevention of access to education. Many displaced women and girls are forced to stay home instead of going to school, decreasing their chance of a decent livelihood in the future. Worldwide, this is a problem. UNICEF estimates that there are 129 million girls out of school around the world. That is a huge number. For every 10 refugee boys in primary school, there's an estimated fewer than 8 refugee girls, and that gap only increases with age. For every 10 refugee boys in secondary school, there are fewer than 7 refugee girls. So on that note, we'd love for you to join us in this video and meet Nazia. Introducing you to one of our clients who's a refugee from Afghanistan. Before the Taliban took control of the country, Nazia had her dream job teaching English. That all changed overnight. In this short video, she shares her impossible decision to leave home and the difficult journey she embarked on to get to the US.
Teaching English was always kind of my dream career, my dream job. It was not a long time that I got my job in an organization that I liked and the salary was good, but everything was ruined. All of my 3 classes were female students. I decided to have female students because all educational centers were banned. No girl was allowed to go to school, get education, or go to university. It was a 1-hour class, and I was trying to make that 1 hour really fun and actually an inspirational class for my students, and they could forget on that 1 hour the problems that was happening around the city, around the country. One day I received a call. She told I'm Shukriya Usmani. I call from America, Virginia, and I'm working for Kia. and you are selected to be evacuated to America. On the way to Turkhan, I was really stressed out. How if Taliban find my documents, what should I do? If they arrest me and my father, what should I do? It was night, but it was the darkest night for me.
So I think Nazia's story really speaks to the many women who are resettling and who we've met that experienced especially dangerous, especially unstable situations because of their gender. And the resettlement experience can introduce further challenges to women. Many of the women that we serve at IINE have a lower socioeconomic status when they arrive and a lack of work experience. They have a greater language barrier. Some of our female clients arrive pre-literate even in their home country's language. And they have an increased possibility of isolation in resettlement. As their spouses and children acclimate through school and work, they may find themselves isolated, and that can be demoralizing. Finally, they're at a higher risk for intimate partner violence that's often linked to higher levels of stress and trauma. These barriers all impact women and girls' safety and access to education, employment, and healthcare. So that context leads us to tonight's presentation. II and IINE's approach. We offer services immediately upon arrival that are designed to help people orient and function in their new environment quickly, so they have the best chance at short-term survival, as Jeff said, and longer-term success. But because so much of our focus is on self-sufficiency and it's so intense, our support is often focused most intensely on members of families that can learn English and enter the workforce most quickly. And that often means that we spend more time with male heads of households whom the family prioritizes for community engagement and for work. But in the past several years, as we've grown, we've thought really deeply about more equitable support across client families and genders. We've established new programs and initiatives, and we're committed to providing a range of tailored, culturally sensitive programs to better target support for refugee women and girls, with specific goals in helping them connect with their peers, access more safe spaces, receive reproductive health and parenting support, learn English and join the workforce, and integrate into and positively impact their communities. And with that, I'm going to invite my colleagues, Boston Managing Director Maggie Nassaranis, Lowell Managing Director Caroline Rowe, and Manchester Managing Director Henry Harris to join us and to share more about the unique programming for refugee women and girls at IINE across our 3 sites.
Thank you, Zan, and good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to begin by sharing our new initiatives in women's healthcare programming. We decided to focus on better understanding refugee women's health priorities in Manchester and have established a new partnership with Dartmouth Medical School. We've invited a group of female students to survey refugee women in our programs to better understand which health topics they would like to receive information about, such as mental health, domestic violence, and birth control, for example. Many of these topics are taboo in their cultures, so these will be the first time that they can openly and safely discuss them. The Dartmouth medical students are currently creating workshops focused on these topics, which will be offered soon.
In Lowell, we also focus on women-specific health issues by offering feminine hygiene information sessions for our refugee youth. Thanks to a partnership with Dignity Matters, a local nonprofit, we are able to provide feminine care products and undergarments to our clients.
In Boston, we provide health programming specifically for our clients who are transgender women. We have partnerships with Fenway Health and Boston Medical Center to connect our clients with necessary gender-affirming care, often after these clients have been denied such healthcare for far too long. Our clients are also connected with medical healthcare providers and can attend LGBTQIA group counseling. Our Boston office also holds a monthly LGBTQIA client support group. In June, our staff and clients marched in the Boston Pride Parade. Many were celebrating Pride for the first time.
Moving on to safety programming, Henry briefly mentioned that domestic violence is a taboo subject for many of our female clients because of their cultural backgrounds. We have recently introduced new programming to address experiences of violence and help raise awareness. Our staff provide educational classes to help our clients name domestic violence and understand the resources and paths that are available to address it. As of right now, our classes are for our Haitian clients in Haitian Creole, and they are offered to both women and men separately. Another way in which we are addressing safety is through creating safe places for women and girls to gather in community and learn together. A good example of this is our Refugee Women and Girls Swimming program. Many refugee women and girls do not learn how to swim, particularly if they had protracted refugee camp experiences, and many have had terrible experiences with water. Every October, the Merrimack College women's swim team lead our female clients through swim lessons at the North Andover YMCA and a fully female safe space with female lifeguards. We have had a great turnout with women and children from Afghanistan, Syria, and the Congo participating.
In Manchester, we are grateful to have several partnerships with organizations that focus on domestic violence prevention. Victory Women of Vision is a nonprofit working with immigrant and refugee families in New Hampshire. We refer our clients, survivors of domestic violence, to Victory Women to receive education and support. Then the YMCA also offers emergency shelter placement and counseling for families in crisis.
Lastly, another primary focus for our women and girls is providing education and employment-focused programming to empower them. Many of our women clients are pre-literate and have young children at home. So in Lowell, we provide a beginning literacy English class for women and children. This class is key to beginning the language skills they need to help support their families, connect with others in their community, and once their children are older, communicate with their teachers. Clients with English skills have an opportunity to enroll in our Certified Nursing Assistance program. This free program prepares them to pass the CNA licensing exam so they can secure roles at hospitals, nursing homes, and long-term care facilities.
We have a similar program in Manchester called LNA for Success. Both programs have been hugely successful with over 100 students becoming certified as nursing assistants and going on to fill critical gaps in the healthcare industry. Most of our students pass the state exam on the first or second try. We also have a program called ESL for Healthcare. We are working directly with several local hospitals to provide on-site ESL classes for employees who speak little English or to no English. These employees are in entry-level positions and are eager to move up into their careers, but they can't due to language barriers. Our first cohort was so successful that 4 of the women advanced directly into our language. They gained 2 language levels and moved into our LNA for Success program. This program also has a very positive impact on hospitals as their management teams now have a much better communication and rapport with their non-English speaking staff.
Another important aspect of empowering our female clients is providing them with opportunities to connect and socialize. In Boston, we have an Afghan women's group, which meets once a month and is a chance for the women to form bonds and explore their new city together.
We have a similar group in Manchester. Our Afghan women's social group has been running since 2021, when we welcomed hundreds of Afghan families within a few weeks. With tight housing, most of our families had to stay in hotels for many months. And this was a great opportunity for women to socialize and for their kids to play together. And to this day, it's still happening and going strong. We also provide a group with guest speakers that discuss health and nutrition topics, and they learn how to navigate American grocery stores and to find foods and spices that they are accustomed to. Our volunteers have also helped organize outings and other fun activities for families to participate in.
In Lowell, we also have similar socializing opportunities. We've recently launched our Unite Women Club. The club comes together once a month to socialize. They've made friendship bracelets, watched movies, played games, and painted together.
Another important leadership opportunity for our women clients is the Refugee Family Advisory Council. The council was formed last December with funding from the New Hampshire Women's Foundation in partnership with Amoskeag Health, one of our local health centers. All of the council members are refugee women. They meet once a month to discuss barriers, challenges that they might be facing in the community. They also learn to share information on health, nutrition, and other family-related topics. The plan is to assemble their feedback to better inform the community leaders and advocate for policy and change. Community meetings provide a safe space for women to speak up, to advocate for themselves, and to take on a leadership role in the community, which for many is a very new concept. We're excited about the potential impact the council will have and their voices to be heard and by decision makers across the state.
Caroline, Maggie, and Henry, thank you so much for giving us some more details and overview of our programs, which I have found so thoughtful and so creative and so community-based. I can't imagine some of the experiences that women are able to take advantage of and the opportunities to be together. I'd now like to introduce everyone to Furaha, our IINE Health Promotion Case Specialist, who's going to share some about her own refugee experience and also about her current experience working with women and girls.
Hi, Furaha. Thank you for joining us today. Can you share a little bit about your life before you came to the US?
Yes, thank you everyone to welcome me. My name again is Furaha Nyirarukundo. I born from Congo. I moved in Uganda camp in 1990. I was with my mom and my dad with 3 siblings.
How old were you when you were in the camp?
I was 6 years old.
Wow. What was life like in the camp?
The life in camp was hard because we don't have enough money. We have real big food and it was enough for our family.
Were there any schools in the camp?
Yes, it was. And I studied 4 grades. I didn't continue because my family doesn't have enough money that I can buy the uniform, I can buy books. On that time, I didn't continue class because of that. And my mom asked me to help her to take care of my 9 siblings.
Because you were the oldest child?
Yes.
Yeah. And how long were you in the camp for?
It was 19 years or 20 years.
Wow. When you did get the chance to leave, what was that process like for you?
The process was so hard because we found out my father-in-law, the name come that we need to do interview and take long process because the name come in 2013 and we finish interview in 2019. That is the month we came here or the year we came here in United States because we did a lot of interviews We did the check-up, orientation, many interviews.
Wow, sounds like a long process.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you learned you would be coming to the US?
We was excited because we didn't know anyone in the USA. So, but we think that God will help us because God who helped us in the refugees camp, he will continue to help us in the USA.
Yeah. And what was it like when you first came to Manchester?
The first time I came, I found my caseworker at airport and welcome us. I was with my husband and 4 kids. Yeah.
That's a beautiful family.
Yeah.
What kind of services did IINE provide for you?
International Institute helped me for apartment, helped me food stamp, Medicaid, doctors, and helped me to have English class because I was not speaking English. They give me English class and they helped me a lot of stuff.
Wow. And now you came and now you're working with us. How did that come to be?
Yes. So I work with the IINE right now. I found my caseworker told me to come in the office to have an appointment. I was thinking, what is appointment for? Because I didn't know what is going on. When I came here in the office, they say they want to hire me. I say, okay, thank you. Thank you, because I didn't work in the office before. That's why I was nervous, but everything went well.
Well, you were definitely a leader in the community and someone who could represent Congolese people and be able to speak with them and help share our work so that they had someone that they could connect with. So thank you for what you do. Can you share a little bit about what you do in your role at
Yes,
IINE?
yes, I am health promotion case specialist. I help clients to go to medical appointment. I help clients to pick up medication. I help clients to show them how to take medication. And also I take them to urgent care if they are very sick. And I help clients because I do healthy orientation. I teach them how to make appointment by themselves, and I teach them how to use medical taxi, and I help them with anything they need if I
Wow.
can help them with that.
That's great. And it's so cool because it's kind of come full circle for you. You were receiving services and now you're helping people.
Yes,
receive
and
the same.
I help women organization.
Thank you for sharing that. What do you notice with our female clients? Is life in the US really challenging for them?
Yes, when you come here in the United States, the first time it will be like hard, but a day by day, the life it will be better.
Thank you. Do you think there's more opportunities here for women?
Yes, the women here, they have freedom. Women here can work, make money by themselves. Women here, they can have help with everything they need.
Is it hard for them to transition from their culture into American culture? Like, are their husbands supportive, or is it is there a struggle with that?
I can say here in USA is easier than where I came from, because here, even if you cannot speak any language, they can support you with everything you need.
Great. Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Henry and Furaha. I'm gonna welcome back Maggie and Caroline, and I just wanted to say, Furaha, like Henry said, you really like took your whole personal experience and transitioned it to a position that can support everyone coming behind you in that experience. And I know that this country has so many opportunities for everyone, including women and girls, but it can take a real level of comfort and connection, I think, to take the first steps. So I appreciate your work and all of your work. At this point, I think we're gonna take some questions and hopefully have some dialogue. And I'll just start with our first question, which is, we've all witnessed differences in experiences of refugee women during the resettlement process. So I want to know, how do you assess and develop programming, which seems so creative and thoughtful, that reflects the unique needs of our clients in a way that's also respectful of their cultures, their learned cultural practices, and what they find comfortable?
So here we can have a safe place for women to gather and talk and support each other. It is very important. Talk about healthcare and how it's different here in USA, and how to take care of our kids and how to support each other.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first step is really listening to what our clients want. And we resettle so many clients from various backgrounds and cultures. And I think we really try to listen first from our clients and then our staff who are working to support our clients of what is needed and what they need and what would support them. So that is how, for example, we developed our beginning literacy class, because we saw there was a need in the Afghan women community for that class. And then likewise, we developed a sewing group as well, because that is what those Afghan women wanted to do. So I think it's really listening.
I would agree. I think a lot of our service planning comes with the trends that we're seeing and the specific needs of populations we're working with at that moment. In the past year in Boston, we resettled many more trans, lesbian, and bisexual women. And I think that, talking with them about their service plans, really identifying healthcare needs, other sort of community supports that they have, and working with the clients to make sure that those goals are set and achieved.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, part of our mission and our goals are to create social connection and social capital for our clients. So starting with women who are really a focal point of community and family, and allowing them, or creating programming that can support them in a way that they can connect, and then transition into leadership roles and to have a voice in the community, I think is really impactful.
It sounds like everyone's put a lot of thought and sort of feedback from clients into the approach. And I heard you talk about creating first safe spaces for women. Can you talk a little bit more about how you do that? And I'm curious to know, are women in those spaces coming from across cultures? Are they feeling safe coming together across cultures? Is it sort of culturally specific? What has that been like?
For us, it started off culturally specific, based on arrivals, because you have a large group maybe arriving at one time. And so there's comfort in that, I think, when you're settling. And then the goal is to obviously start to intertwine the groups and get them more connected. But our advisory council, family advisory council, is that they come directly out of our ESL classes. So it's a mix of everybody. And I think that's really where we ultimately want to get to, but you start with what you have.
I agree. I think it starts with that same community. Like our beginning literacy class started all Afghan women, and now it's Afghan, Rohingya, Syrian, very diverse. And likewise, I think a lot of our clients are able to connect with individuals from different backgrounds. So for example, we have a group of Haitian young women who have formed a dance troupe, and they've kind of taken on this young girl from Central African Republic who speaks French, so who is able to kind of communicate with them and participate in that group. So I think it starts, you know, in your same group, but then we have activities that involve everyone, that people who are in English class start to become friends and, you know, see each other in the office, and it really just becomes one big community.
Thank you. We kind of started to touch on this, but what is the next question? What has been the biggest difficulties when approaching taboo topics? And how have you remained culturally sensitive, but also in that sort of moment, also addressing wellness and addressing safety?
I think it starts with trust. When you know, a lot of our programs, if you come in with an agenda, it's not going to fly. And so I think you have to, that's why for the Dartmouth medical students project, they wanted to interview first and survey and find out what the interests were. And so I would say it took several times to get some good data points, because they're, you know, to come in, that's an agenda. Here, answer these questions. So we were able to, over time, just have them participate in the English classes, and then they started to engage. So you meet them where they're at. And then once they feel safe, then it's, you know, the doors are open and it's on the table.
I agree. I think through the more interactions, the longer you have that relationship, or if it's a volunteer who they form a relationship with, once they have a trusted person, I think you're able to discuss more issues, any sort of safety concerns. That's when the client will really open up to you.
Just someone's written, taking maybe a little bit of a step back. Can you talk about the different populations that we're currently serving and where most of the women and girls in our services come from? And if you can, any differences you notice in different populations?
I think so. This year, I've worked at IINE for now 5 years. This year has been our most diverse year of arrivals, which is very exciting. In Lowell, we've resettled almost 300 refugees. Majority are Afghan, Congolese, Syrian, Iraq, but we've also had Ivory Coast, Somalia, South Sudanese, and Rohingya, which is a new population. We've had also some Burmese, Karen. So among all those populations, you know, women and girls across all of those populations. And Zan, what was the second part of the question?
Oh, yeah. Are your services different when it comes to the different groups and populations? And are there differences or similarities in the experiences that you're seeing across the women in those groups?
Yes, and I forgot Haitian Creole, or Haitian is also our other biggest population. But yeah, so I think we still provide, you know, all the same services across all those populations. I think it's really then adding the language and cultural competency within those services. And as we see groups coming, really seeing what each different group needs. So for example, now that we have a larger population of Rohingya, which are the first Rohingya that have been resettled in the US in a long period of time. We have about 3 extended families. You know, seeing what that specific group's needs, and then sometimes we are providing, you know, a different additional cultural education or more specific training around certain things. So it's really seeing what each group needs and then providing that support.
In the Boston office this year, we've also worked with many Latin American women and families, Guatemala, El Salvador, Venezuela, and yeah, like Helen said, every person is different. Everyone comes with a different background, but you know, sort of adjusting based on work experience, you know, education experience within each group, and just really helping everyone through this transition, and tailoring services.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar for, I think, all 3 sites. Probably the biggest challenge is when you have smaller numbers of people when they first come. If you know, sometimes you might have one family from a country and they're brand new, and there's no one for them to relate to or connect to yet. And it just takes time. And again, you kind of start with trust and try to incorporate and bring them into what we have to offer.
Well, following that comment about different experiences, we've talked a lot about women's barriers and people who have low levels of literacy and lack of work experience, language barriers, but is that the case for every woman that we're seeing and every girl? Do we have other women with other experiences that you can share?
We definitely, I mean, you never know what you're going to get, and people come with all kinds of different backgrounds. We've recently resettled a family where the mother was a justice in Afghanistan. She was a judge, and when the Taliban, took over, they freed all the prisoners that she had put in jail, which made her a target. So she worked with the Supreme Court, our New Hampshire Supreme Court justices, who have a program to help extricate female judges around the world that are fleeing, political prosecution. So she comes with a high skill set. Family's very educated, and other than language barriers and the fact that it will take some time before she will be able to pursue a career as a judge in this country, but there's, again, it's opportunity. It's just sometimes you have to go through a few more hoops before you can get back to where you're at.
Yeah, I'd say about 10 to 15% of our women arrivals are very well educated, high level English, multiple languages beyond their mother language and English, and have a lot of very valuable work experience. But I think they are, one step ahead or a couple steps ahead on arrival, but I think that can also be challenging getting back into the fields that you're interested in and getting recertified or transferring those education degrees can be another challenge in resettlement.
And we do work on that. We've been able to get, we recently had a teacher from, I believe she was from Afghanistan. Yes. And she was able to go back and get her transcripts transferred. And so she's now working for the Manchester School District.
So like in that sort of sense of, many people are coming here with strengths, with pre-existing skills. Maybe Furaha, this is for you. What makes the most difference in terms of growth when someone's first here? How do they get support to grow?
So I see the many support here in USA, because even if I started, like if you are pregnant here, an example, you go to the doctor, they care you. But in Africa, you can go, you are painful, your baby can die in you, and the doctor doesn't care. Maybe they need the money. So if you don't have money, you can pass away with your baby inside. But here, you can see like 10 doctors. They are all to you. Starting 1 month, every month you go to the doctor, they check you. If you are 8 months, every week you need to go. They need to check you to see if your blood pressure is doing well, to see your baby if he's okay. But there, you need to have money in your pocket to give it to nurse to care about you. But here you don't need to pay anything.
Yeah. And Furaha, you were sharing earlier about how these groups, like you actually work with a Congolese group of women, and how is that in terms of like helping them connect and find kind of
so this human group, it help. First of thing, it help people to be friends. Because like me, when I came here to United States, I didn't know anyone. Because my mom went to Norway with with 6 kids. Me, I came here alone with my husband. So my mom went there. But when I came here, the one things I learned about IINE. IINE, I can say, is like mother and father, because they make people together. So my first time I went to appointment, Puspa is the one who take me. One day he take me and he show me one lady who live Elm Street. He say, this one is coming from Burundi, but he speak your language. It was my first time to see like black like me. I say, oh my goodness, it is another people here. So I need make people together, and then people find a friend. And then after that, you can talk about the life. Everyone can share his experience.
Thank
So
you.
this women group, there is another people who is new. They meet us. We talk about many things. We talk about how we can check our body if we have a healthy problem, mental problem, how we can support our daughter. These many things we learn and makes friends.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I think for me, you really touched on the whole goal and mission of the Institute, which is really to take everything everyone's coming with and try to respect it and connect it to what, our communities have to offer. And it really takes a navigator to do that. And that's so critical to our work. So I have a last question, then we're going to talk a little bit about how people on the call can get involved and support some of this work. And that is like, do we offer mentoring support for refugee women and girls? There may be people on this call who are thinking, they'd like to be a part of these connections and communities and offer some types of navigation and support.
So in Lowell, we do have a refugee youth mentoring program where we support refugee youth ages 15 to 25. And we utilize volunteer mentors who can be paired with a refugee youth and meet to support and provide career guidance, academic guidance. And then we also have after school tutoring as well as a part of that. So that's one way. I would also say through our ESOL classes, we also utilize volunteers, and volunteers can work one-on-one, providing that ESOL conversation support with our clients.
One area where we've had a lot of success with volunteer support and sort of a mentorship role has been especially for single parents, particularly mothers. If family needs a little bit of extra support, just helping with them with the transition, someone just maybe spend some time, have family over for dinner, share a meal, go for a walk together, just a way to garner a little bit more support and make a connection for the entire family. We also have volunteers who help out with what's like English tutoring, which can be really helpful for all sorts of clients.
Yeah, I think the English classes are a great place to get involved. There's lots of opportunities. And I think out of what we do, the ESOL classes are the most probably community building, because you've got cohorts of people that go through from all over, but they go through a similar shared experience. And so it's really a great way to connect. And then from there, there's all kinds of opportunities that when we have outings or family gatherings or game night or whatnot that's happening, volunteers that get involved in that end up taking a leadership role.
Well, thank you. We're going to talk a little bit more about volunteering in a second, but I just wanted to thank each of you for your leadership role in really thinking thoughtfully about women and girls' experiences, how they're different, and the ways that we can, in our programming, even with limited resources, really make a difference and connect people, and really start to support them in building their future here. So we have a last question, but I'm going to address it in next when I'm talking about our new Willow Fund. And the question is, what's the greatest need that the organization has now? One of the greatest needs that we have is support for programs that are not otherwise, that are essential, but that are not otherwise supported. We have grown so much in the last 3 years. A lot of our funding comes from the federal and state government. Programs like women's initiatives are not part of that funding. So all of the resources that we have, and they're very community-based and they grow out of natural community connection. But all of the resources that we have for those programs have to be supported privately. And like on that note, we're continuing and committed to expanding our women's programming. We've decided to create a very special fund to support the unique experiences of women. And we've called it the Willow Fund, the Women's Initiative for Learning, Liberation, Opportunity, and Well-being, which I love. I want to be a part of all of those things. The mission of the fund and the goal of the fund is pretty ambitious. It's to support at least 500 women and girls each year. And we tried to break down that type of support into 3 different initiatives and areas. The first, we've talked a lot about Every Woman Healthy, refugee women's health experiences. We know women have different displacement experiences. We know many people have experienced trauma. We're very much in support of what Furaha said, culturally sensitive care. I think a lot of times we take for granted that we can go and get prenatal care, for example, here, where in other parts of the world that may not be an opportunity. And also think and focus on how do we offer and connect women to more quality health and especially mental health and wellness services. The next area of programming we're hoping to grow is Every Woman Safe, safe women and safe girls. We know that many refugee and also trans women and girls continue to be targets of violence, even in resettlement. That includes sexual assault and other types of intimate partner violence, and that's specific in many cases to their gender. So we're working to introduce some new violence prevention, some new crisis response programming, and we don't do that alone. We work with our local domestic violence and sexual assault provider partners in each of our sites. We've got some really good partnerships. And then finally, Every Woman Empowered, the economic empowerment programming. We know that women are often coming here with less access to formal education and employment, and we don't want their opportunity to build self-sufficiency and self-efficacy to be any slower or any harder than for others. So we're hoping to introduce some new education and economic focused programming, and that's very specific. Part of that is including childcare supports, transportation supports, which many women have barriers to help people connect to our services and ultimately achieve some more personal, more economic freedoms. So that is our Willow Fund, and I'm really happy to share with you what Jeff mentioned at the beginning of the town hall, which is that we're having our first annual Willow Women's Luncheon this October, Friday, October 18th at the Boston Park Plaza. We invite everyone on the call to join us. It's a fundraiser, and we're hoping to come together to fundraise, to support, to strengthen our services, to make refugee women and girls' lives in the US, in our communities, safer, healthier, help them be better educated, more aware, more empowered to take advantage of everything that our communities have to offer. And you can find more information about sponsorship opportunities or tickets to the luncheon here on the website and its link. You can also go to our website and connect to it there. And then in addition to sponsoring the lunch, which again, we're hoping to fundraise for more resources for these programs, there are lots of other ways to get involved with us, and we try to share this every town hall. And you've heard some of it tonight. Number one, donate to the Willow Fund. You know, if you scan the QR code that's right there on the screen, you can go donate directly, easily. Like I said, we've grown so much larger than we were just a couple of years ago, mostly because of demand in our communities for services. But you should also know our funding, like I said, is very restricted. And there isn't a lot of opportunity to grow programs that we feel are outside of the federal contracts that we receive that are very basic to offer people more support. So this is the single most important way that you can sustain IINE's work, and every single dollar counts and makes a difference. The second way to help is to donate goods. Like you've heard, there's tremendous need for household goods, for hygiene goods, clothing, diapers. We have lists on our website. You can get the full list and know exactly what we need right now on that link. Third, volunteering. You heard some about this. We have lots of opportunities. Some are short-term opportunities, some are much longer-term opportunities. You can help set up apartments, you can help people go grocery shopping, you can help bring people to appointments, provide support. We've talked a lot about just even taking somebody to the doctor can help make an essential connection for them. And so we invite you to look at our volunteer opportunities. And then finally, which we've talked about in a couple of different presentations this year, we have a new Resettle Together program, which is a very unique program where we do a lot of deep dive training for volunteer groups who get organized and join us in welcoming and supporting and helping integrate families and immigrants. So that's also on our website. And then with all of that, I just want to thank everyone who's participated in our call, all of our leaders, and everyone who has joined us tonight. And I'm going to turn it back to Jeff just to close us out.
Thank you, Zan, and thanks everybody for this presentation. I want to thank Henry and Maggie and Caroline, and especially Furaha, for your kind words and your wisdom and your insights. I want to thank our team for coming up with the idea of the Willow Fund. And I want to emphasize what Zan said earlier. A lot of our programming at IINE in all resettlement agencies is designed to get people self-sufficient as quickly as possible, to get people into the market, job market as quickly as possible. And because of that emphasis, and because funding from the public sector is geared towards that work, oftentimes, we don't have enough resources to help the entire family, particularly women and girls. And so Zan and this team has been pushing for a long time for additional funding and additional programming specifically for women and girls. And so I applaud them for getting us to this point. And I thank you for listening this afternoon, and hope you join us as participants in the Willow Fund. And we hope you continue to support the International Institute of New England. We do our work with more than 18,000 clients, thanks to a broad network of supporters. And we know many of our supporters are particularly concerned about the struggles and the challenges and the hopes and dreams of the women and girls that we serve. And so we thank you for supporting us. We thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you at the event in October, if not sooner. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of the day.